And we live yet again, right? So I'm gonna jump straight into it, right? Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the weight of success and you wondered if you could actually handle it? Right? Today's topic comes from Luke 12 and 48. To whom much is given, much is required, right? And so I just want to hop right into it and just give a little backstory, man. I was really just thinking about, man, all of these things that I'm really doing right now, all of the different ventures, all of the different paths that God has me on right now. I ask myself, am I truly ready? Am I truly equipped to actually do any of the things that he has for me? And so I had to think to myself, and that verse really just stuck out to me. To whom much is given, much is required. So understanding that God trusts me in this situation right now with the responsibility of stewarding all of the thoughts and the paths that he's put me on, right? And so I just want to help somebody understand that God has you here for a reason, right? You just have to understand that to whom much is given, much is required, right? So we're gonna start off with God trusts you with the responsibility. Right? God trusts you with the responsibility. Success and responsibility are signs that God sees your potential and knows that you're more than capable of actually handling more. You may not see it, but God knows and he sees the things that you're doing. So all of the reps and all of the things that you're doing on your day to day, it has built you to where God says, okay, I can trust you with a little bit more, right? He equips you to meet the challenge as they come, right? And so a lot of times when we feel like the weight of success is too much for us, we have to remind ourselves that God wouldn't even place us in this position unless he knew that we could actually handle it and steward it well, right? So if God believes in you, you do too. You need to believe in yourself. So point number 2, and these are just the mindset shifts, right? These are the mindset shifts. I'm gonna give you some tactical ways to help improve, manage and improve your responsibility so that you can manage the things that you have well. So point number 2, responsibility requires endurance. And this point, it really hits home for me because I love the book of James. James 1 specifically, right? So when you actually come against trials, trials are there to actually test your faith and it produces endurance, right? So that comes from James 1, chapter 1, verse 2 through 4, right? Count it all joy when you actually go through trials because all of this is just producing the endurance for you, right? And so the proof of your endurance, it comes from your faithfulness. So how you handle challenges now shows God that you're now ready for the next level. This shows God that you're ready for the next level. So the responsibility requires endurance. You have to push through all of those trials that you actually face on a day-to-day basis. If he didn't believe that you could do it, he wouldn't have gave it to you. He wouldn't have tested you with it. He wouldn't have blessed you with this opportunity, right? And point number 3, faithfulness in the small things leads to bigger opportunities, right? A lot of times when we steward over the small things, God blesses us with more because he sees that what we do with the little, we can manage a lot more, right? So that's almost like if you give a child $5 and say, "Hey, make sure you spend this money wisely. Hey, don't go out there and burn your money up," right? A child that just goes out, "Oh, okay, I hear you," and goes and spend it on junk food, candy, whatever they spend it on. And now when it comes time to actually use that $5, you're like, "Where your money at?" "Oh, well, I spent it." Hmm. That shows me that you're irresponsible with the money that I gave you. On the other hand, the child that actually was like, "Okay, Let me hold this money for a little bit. I know I want this candy. I know I want these snacks, but I don't know. I might go somewhere and I might really need it. Right. And so when the time comes, you're able to show, okay, I still got that money that you gave me. I saved it for a time like this. And so what that shows me is, okay, you actually got some responsibility of stewarding your money at a young age. Now everybody know kids gonna just burn through their money when you give it to them, but there are some kids that they want to keep their money in their pockets so they could buy what they want to buy, right? And so if you think about handling the responsibilities of handling those small things, what does it really show? It shows that you actually have integrity, and it sets the foundation for bigger blessings in God's eyes. So think about situations that you've been put in front of, right? Have you been able to steward those opportunities well, or did you fumble the bag? Just like if you got a raise on your job, did you go and just buy you a new BMW instead of paying off debt so you can actually become financially free? And then you gonna holler to God, I want more money. Well, I gave you a raise. What you do with it? Oh, I burnt that up. See, I can't trust you with that. Right. And so in Luke 16:10, it says, whoever can be trusted with a little can also be trusted with much. Right. And so I want to be a person. I take that back. Scratch me. I want you to be a person that God can actually trust to steward the things that he gives you well. Right. I want you to actually think about it. Can God actually trust me with the small things so that way I can be tasked or given the opportunity of handling much more? Right. To whom much is given, much is required. Sacrifice is required. Saying no is required. Right. There's a lot of things that comes with the actual gifts and the rewards that people have. So the people that are multimillionaires, they had to make sacrifices, right? So to whom much is given, much is required. And so now I'm gonna actually give you some. Let me see. I'm gonna give you about 5 points. I'm gonna give you 5 points to actually help you improve your responsibility, right? Number one, prioritize. Prioritize. I know it sounds like a simple thing to do, but a lot of people can't prioritize. Prioritize what? Prioritize your time, right? Can you prioritize your time? Can you prioritize the things that you have to do on a day-to-day basis? Can you prioritize the small things, right? So when you actually think about prioritization, for me, what that looks like is, okay, with my time, I have my time blocked out to where now I know the highest importance of things that I have to do on a day-to-day basis. So when smaller things come up, I'm like, I can't do that because I have bigger things to actually do. Right. And so learn how to prioritize. Number two, set boundaries and build systems. Right. So when you actually create a boundary and system, so that goes back to the time for me, for my boundaries, you can actually set boundaries on your time. So dang, I don't want to repeat myself when it comes to that, but it it's really that simple. So when it comes to setting boundaries with my time, I don't do everything with everybody, right? Because I know the goals that I have to be achieved. If I'm trying to change the legacy of my family to be more than where we were or currently are, there are some boundaries I gotta set, right? And when it comes to systems, boundaries and systems help you avoid burnout, right? Boundaries and systems helps you avoid burnout, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs we don't have boundaries. We say yes, 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 yes to all these things, but then now at the end of the week you burnt out. You can't even have time for yourself, and now you don't even want to start next week, right? So having those boundaries and systems can actually help you with your responsibility. It helps show that I'm not I'm not willing to do everything with everybody, right? Systems and boundaries aren't constraints, they're actually tools for sustainable success, right? So, number three, always trust God's wisdom. Always trust God's wisdom. I know people gonna be like, yeah, obviously he's God. We gotta trust it. But everybody don't do it. God tell you go left, you go right. Right. So when it comes when it comes to understanding how we can actually be trusted by God, to whom much is given, much is required, we have to first trust him. We have to first have a conversation with him and actually listen. Right. Sometimes we say our prayer and it's a dialogue. It's a monologue. My bad. It's not even a dialogue. Right. You're talking to him and you ain't listening to see if he said anything back. God, I don't even know what to do about this job. But I want you to tell me, amen. And you go on about your day. That sounds a little backwards, right? I thought it was supposed to be a conversation between me and him, right? So if you actually want to be trusted by God so he can bless you with more opportunities, you got to have that conversation. Number four, commit to continuous growth. Commit to continuous growth. A lot of people want to stay settled in the place where they are. They want to be in the place of just enough. What is a place of just enough? Oh no, I'm cool with that. I don't want those opportunities. I don't want to do that. Huh? But you said you want to change the legacy for your family. So you don't want these opportunities. You're not willing to grow. And because of your unwillingness to grow, guess what? God can't trust you with more. So the verse of to whom much is given, much is required, that don't even apply to you, because you can't be trusted to actually grow, to step into the place where God wants you to step into. Right? Like it's me, I'm always willing to grow. I'm on a day-to-day basis, I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna learn me some. I'm gonna go talk to somebody to actually teach me how to do something better. Because at the end of the day, God is gonna be able to trust me to be able to get to that next level, so that way I can help the people that I'm called to help. And guess what? I'm gonna serve them well. Why? Because I've been continuously growing day by day, hour by hour, second by second. Hmm? Are you? How are you growing? How are you being committed to continuous growth? What are some things that you're doing right now to keep you growing? Yeah, we got a certification for doing this thing, but what next? Right? Success doesn't just require doing more, it requires becoming more. Hmm, right? You have to become more. So, personal development, not just growing in your business, but growing personally. You have to become the person that can actually do the things that I take that back. I wanna say, if I can remember it correctly, people who are actual millionaires, they didn't become millionaires just by doing things. They had to become a person worthy of actually having those millions. They had to become the person that can be able to make millions. What do you mean? A lot of people don't want to get up early. A lot of people don't want to stay up late. A lot of people don't want to have those hard conversations. A lot of people don't want to read books. Doing the things that produces what a millionaire is, a lot of people don't want to do it. right? So what does that mean? Take courses, read some books, attend some webinars, right? Master classes, something. But also while you're becoming, also do. Don't just become a sponge and soak in all this information just for you not to do it, right? Um, and number 5, always celebrate the small wins. I had to learn this myself. I went through therapy, and in therapy, she told me we have to celebrate the small progresses that you actually made. Focus on the small wins on your journey to becoming better, right? Because oftentimes we know what bad happened throughout the day, but when I ask you what's something good that actually happened to you this week, it's hard for you to think about it because you're not focusing on the good. You're always focusing on that negative piece of it, right? So when we celebrate small wins, we're thinking continuously to ourselves, okay, I'm actually making progress. I see the little steps that I'm actually making. And it recognizes God's faithfulness in your journey, right? You're showing yourself approved for God to actually be able to trust you with more so that way you can say, okay, I've been given much and I know what it looks like to have more responsibility. God trusts me with more responsibility. That's why I'm in a position where I am now. So you can't become a husband doing single people stuff, right? I can't become a father if I'm out here doing I don't know, right? There's a level of responsibility that comes with being a father, with being a husband, with being an employee, an entrepreneur, a steward of God's kingdom. There's a level of responsibility that's there. And so I want to be able to say, God, I appreciate you for these small wins. I appreciate you for them. And I'm going to continue to do it. Right. Write some of those wins down. As you continue to make those wins, write them down. Why? So you can always go back and reflect on where you started from and where you are now. What are the wins in between? Right? So gratitude fuels perseverance. Celebrating the small wins reminds you of how far you've come. And so what I want you to do this week is reflect on the wins that you had in the last week, in the last month, right? Reflect on those wins. Give yourself some credit and see how God is actually trusting you with more. Are you ready for the responsibility? Right? Are you ready for that responsibility? The answer is already yes, because you're already walking in it. All right. And so I just want to encourage you guys that, I know every day is a different, it has its own problems. That's why Jesus told us to don't worry about tomorrow, worry about today. Because today has its own troubles. And so God is going to give us our daily bread. Like today, I was not feeling my best. I was not feeling my best. But I remembered how God is trusting me to be consistent, to still show up, to still be the person that people can say, okay, I see where he's come from, right? I see the place where he started from and where he at now. Because this is just a foundational pad that I'm building, right? Because in the next few years, you never know where God is going to take me. Where is God going to take you in the next few years? Think about it, right? Right? Like I truly want everybody to actually grow, right? There is no such thing as staying in the same place doing the same things at the same time. Because at the end of the day, if you continue to stay in the same place, you're going to get left behind. Be trusted by God. Be ready for the responsibility and serve people well. And so, with that being said, man, today has been a good day regardless. And I hope you guys have a great week. We're 1 week out from Thanksgiving. Well, a little bit over a week out from Thanksgiving. It's just Sunday. We got a week and a couple days, but we almost there. Right. So think about all the things that you can actually be thankful for. Right. And so with that being said, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one on tomorrow. Day 8. This is day 7. Day 8 of Livember. I know we're gonna go into December still doing this stream, but it's okay though. We gonna still call it Livember. Hey, I'll see y'all tomorrow.